Hi guys, a lot of you are now preparing to come to China, and I'm going to introduce some tips on things you should think about before you're coming to Chinese universities and coming to China. So the number one tip I have that you need to do is download WeChat. WeChat is China's everything app. It's like WhatsApp, it's like Facebook, it's like Instagram all in one app, and you'll use it to communicate with everyone in China. So you really, really need to get WeChat in China. You can also use it for paying your bills, your telephone bills, your utilities when you're renting an apartment. And it's just so useful to have WeChat, and you really need to get it. You can get it from wechat.com. The second thing you need to do is to make friends or to have friends that you can contact when you come into China. It could be a good idea to, if you have WeChat, is to join some WeChat groups so you're part of some communities, or you can go online, you can check out some communities like, for example, Reddit, or you can check out where are the kind of communities in China, where are the people that I can get to know. If you're going to university in China, then it's probably going to be pretty easy to make friends because you can just make friends when you arrive in the university. But having a good support network is one of the most important ways to be safe or to be prepared or to settle into your life in China. So it's really important to think about. If you're applying on China admissions to Chinese universities, then we can help to introduce you to buddies in China and help to introduce you so you can have friends before you come to China. And we can also sometimes help to introduce you to events or to get to know people. And we also share some links to events as well, which you can check out on our platform, on our blog and on our events page. You probably have many questions about what it's like when you come to China. There's so many things to think about, and especially if you're coming from a country such as Europe or a place such as Europe where the culture is so different. So we've prepared a guide for you, which you can download in the description. And we also have given a few talks as well. You can check out some of the links to these talks about things you need to think about, and recommend you check these out before you come. We try and give you all this advice. So the next thing I would suggest is to print out your arrival instructions for when you come to China. I just think it's good to have like a paper copy of it in case your phone runs out of battery or something like that. Just print everything out so you have a backup when you come to China and you know, for example, where you're going, what's the address. You can print it out in Chinese, which is the name of the university, so you can give to a taxi driver, because taxi drivers don't really speak English. If you have an airport pickup or if you're doing that, then you may not need it, but it's good to have just in case, because it's always good to have backups of all these things. You can also have some basic phrases that you might need to use. You can also check out Google Translate, which actually it won't work in China, but you can check out some translation tools. And another thing that you need is a VPN, because Google, Facebook, and Instagram, WhatsApp, these apps do not work in China. So you're going to have to need to get a VPN before you come to China so that you can use these apps in China. There's a few that you can check out in the description, and you can check which is the best one for you. You can still download these when you're in China, but it's a little bit harder. It's better if you can try and get it before. So just so you're prepared and you have it on your phone and you can connect to these VPNs, because it's good to be able to connect back home and to be able to do these kind of things. One of the great things that you can check out as well is Google Translate, which is so useful in China because you can scan Chinese characters and it will show you in English. And you can also use it as a translate tool where it's actually pretty accurate, where you can just share it to someone, they can reply back, and you can have communication, can have contact if you don't speak the language very well. You can also check out Pleco, which is another app for if you're learning to speak Chinese as well. When you're coming to China, you're going to have to bring some money with you, and this is really important for you to have some money. It depends on each student where you're from, what kind of bank you want to use, but obviously it's important that you set up internet banking before you come. Some students may not have internet banking, but if you come from a country where it's not as popular, it's a good idea to have it so you will be able to access it. Or you can ask a family member to help you when you arrive. They can help to transfer money. There's a bit of a challenge sometimes in sending RMB internationally because it's not a fully internationalized currency. So it could be a good idea to bring some dollars with you, because you can change dollars when you come to China. And it's really easy. You're normally going to get a pretty good rate in banks. Probably you don't want to change it in the airport when you arrive. But another thing you can do is bring like a bank card, and then in the airport you can withdraw money from the ATM usually, but it's always a good idea to have some cash. China's pretty safe. I wouldn't bring too much cash. Good to be a precaution, to have a precaution when you come, and don't bring too much, but it's good to have some as a backup. You can also use things like Western Union to transfer money when you arrive, or when you come, you can set up a bank account and then you can transfer money into the bank account when you've already set it up. so it's easy. And if you're going to university, you can basically pay the university before you come, which could be good. It can make things a bit more simple, but some universities you're not able to do that. And so you need to come to China, then register, then you can pay. So it depends on the university, but I would make sure to check with the university about the exact instructions for that and make sure you know how to do it before you come. Another really important thing when you come to China is accommodation, because everything works a little bit differently in China to other countries. We actually did an event with Wechat, which is an international app for finding apartments and sharing apartments in China. So you can check out this app. It's quite a good app. It's also quite good for making friends and meeting people as well. Normally, if you're going to university, sometimes you can book accommodation before you come, but some universities, they don't allow you to book accommodation before you come. So what I would suggest is that you can find a hotel in the city you're going to and then book a few nights in the hotel, maybe 4 or 5 nights or something like that, depending if you have university accommodation. But I would suggest just booking a decent hotel near to the university that you're going to, and then you just know that the university is going to be open all night. If you come in the night, it's going to have good assistance when you arrive. It's going to be easy to check in and all these things. So you can just, when you arrive, you can just get a good first night's sleep. I really suggest that, because you don't really want to be booking an apartment before you come, before you've seen the apartment. It's much better to see all of these apartments yourself, because sometimes the pictures may not be accurate. And if you're checking into university accommodation, some universities will allow you to check in when you arrive, but I would be a bit careful about it and make sure you can confirm it before you come. Otherwise, I would just book a hotel. So it's really easy. You can just go to the hotel for a few nights and then you can go check in and register at the university accommodation in the daytime, like in the morning or something. So you're not in such a rush, because it's probably like a long trip that you've had. Probably you don't want to be messing around when you come. You probably just want to be going to sleep, or you want to have somewhere to rest. You don't want to have any extra worries when you first come. Another thing I would suggest is just to familiarize yourself with the city, because each city is quite unique. So it's a good idea to have a look at the map and then try and work out, like, where are the main areas, where's the university, what is the transport like, where's the subway located, and just understand what the areas in the city is like. And if it's your first time going to the city, because each city is a little bit different and they have different areas. China's pretty safe, so there's usually not areas where you don't want to go or that are not safe, but it's still a good idea to check out and just research the city and understand where the key areas are. Where is the international area, if there is one? Where is the university area? Normally university districts, they'll have a center, they'll have a shopping area. Just familiarize yourself with that, and then check out the airport arrival instructions as well. How do most people arrive in the city? So you also want to have a good financial plan when you come to China. Probably you're going to make a spreadsheet, or you're going to have some kind of budget or some kind of plan. It's really good to think about what your expected expenses is going to be in the city, and try and think about this in advance, because it can really vary according to every student how much you're going to spend. But we do have some links in the description about what you can expect to spend in each city. But obviously it depends on you, because in China, you can actually stay in a university and eat for really, really cheap, because some of the university canteens are really cheap. You can eat for less than $5 a day. But in these cities, they also have really international restaurants that are world-class, especially in Shanghai, where you can spend a lot of money, you can go out, and it can cost a lot more. So you can just think about what your budget is, and it's important to try and plan it in advance. It's a good life skill to have, this budgeting. Another really important thing is to learn Chinese, because that's the language of China. You can do that on italki, which is a good app for learning Chinese. Check it out. You can have a few classes before you arrive, or you can also check out some other ways to learn Chinese. But when you arrive in China, you probably want to just try and get better at Chinese as fast as you can, because then you're going to see the biggest benefit from being able to speak Chinese if you do it as soon as possible. So actually, the good thing is that if you start learning Chinese, it actually can be quite easy to learn it at the start. You can learn quite fast at the start. So you will see very fast gains and growth if you learn Chinese very hard. It could even be an idea to arrive a bit earlier and enroll in a private language school for 2-3 weeks, or even a few months in the summer before you come to China. So then you can really settle in well. And you can also make friends in the language school as well, which is a good idea. The other thing is when you arrive is just try and be open-minded. You're going to have an adventure that's going to be amazing. It's good to have an open mind, positive mindset, because people think differently and you need to be open-minded towards it. Have a good rest when you come, because it's going to be a long trip. You're probably going to be tired, so have a good rest, and good luck. We wish you the best of luck. If you want any help, check out some of the resources in the description, or you can leave a comment, and wish you the best of luck coming to China and your future in China. Cheers.